The Surface Pro 2 was probably the best tablet I've ever used. Since I'm more than just a tech journalist, the power to use real high-end creative programs that have been around for decades has been very important. Now I've got a Surface Pro 3, and that brings a whole host of changes to Microsoft's line of tablets. Microsoft's big point about the Surface Pro 3 is that it is a tablet that can replace your laptop. For me, that already happened in 2002, but for everyone else, that remains to be seen. This is Adam Lane from Pocketnow. Keep watching for our full review of the Surface Pro 3. We'll start with the specs. The Surface Pro 3 is available in a greater range of configurations than previous Surface Pros. Ours has a 4th generation Core i5 4300U 2.5 GHz Haswell processor, 8 GB of RAM, 256 GB of storage, and the battery life can generally last all day without having to plug in. It's got an Intel HD 4400 GPU as well, but the Surface Pro 3 is available in other configurations that offer even more horsepower if that's what you're looking for. In terms of hardware, the Surface Pro 3 steps things up considerably. The weight and dimensions have changed significantly from previous Surface Pros. At 292mm by 201.3mm by 9.1mm and only 800 grams, the Surface Pro 3 is much thinner than previous generations. It's lighter too. The screen size is bigger at 12 inches, with a gorgeous 2160 by 1440 pixel resolution and a nice paper-like 3:2 aspect ratio. Of course, it also has full-size USB 3 port, microSD slot for storage expansion, headset jack, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and a mini display port that can be daisy-chained for multiple monitors. Front and rear cameras have been upgraded to 5 megapixels each as well, but since this is a tablet, you shouldn't be using those for anything other than video chats. The new Kickstand is a significant improvement. Instead of only 1 or 2 viewing angle positions, the Surface Pro 3's Kickstand can be adjusted for almost any viewing angle. The first angle flips out very easily, so you can set it on a table very quickly, but the hinge becomes much stiffer when you bend it further to find your desired angle. It's a great solution, and frankly I'm very impressed with the engineering behind it. One of my favorite parts of the new Surface Pro 3 is the new screen size. The larger 12-inch screen and 3:2 aspect ratio make professional-grade desktop programs like those in the Adobe suite much easier to use. There's a lot more vertical space available for all of those tools and control panels. The high resolution is great too, except for some of the programs that don't yet support high DPI screens. In those cases, buttons are often way too small. The screen mainly works best indoors though. Even with full brightness turned up, outdoor viewing isn't so good. Microsoft had to make larger type covers for the new Surface Pro 3 due to the larger screen. The new type covers are still sold separately so that you can choose the color you want, or just not get one and use some other keyboard instead. It still has the backlit keys and a nice soft material on the back, but now there's a new trackpad. Because the keyboard is bigger, Microsoft was able to make the trackpad 68% larger, and it's also nice smooth plastic instead of the cloth-like material. The new keyboard has an extra folding area that can magnetically attach to the bottom bezel of the screen. Without this attached, touching the screen can cause the tablet to wobble a bit if you have a steep angle on the kickstand and you're setting it on your lap. Attaching it makes the screen a lot more stable in that scenario. The original Surface Pro and Surface Pro 2 both use an inexpensive version of Wacom's Syntec digitizer technology. With the Surface Pro 3, Microsoft switched the stylus digitizer technology to an N-Trig version. The advantages include a thinner screen, less of a visual gap between the stylus tip and pointer display, and better accuracy. The Surface Pro 3 stylus only supports 256 levels of pressure sensitivity, which is much less than Surface Pro 2, but in real life the difference is not noticeable at all. You still have plenty of control over variable brushstroke widths using the stylus in all of your high-end graphics programs. Now let's talk about the software. The Surface Pro 3 comes with Windows 8.1 Pro pre-installed. This is the only touch-friendly operating system out there that can run your professional-grade desktop PC programs. That means you've got access to the largest computing ecosystem in the world. More software than Android's and Apple's app stores combined. If you're an artist with Photoshop, ZBrush, Illustrator, Manga Studio, etc., you'll want to install the WinTap drivers from the N-Trig website in order to enable pressure sensitivity in all of those programs. After you do that, it all works just as well as the Wacom tech in the previous Surface Pros. The new drawing hardware is slightly more accurate too. Windows 8.1 is great for full screen consumption applications as well. You can snap up to 4 Metro apps side by side on the Surface Pro 3 screen, and the interface is designed to make very efficient use of edge gestures. Swipe from the left edge to swap apps, swipe from the right edge to access important functions like settings, printing, or sharing. Some people may think that switching between the desktop environment and the new touch-friendly modern interface is jarring. That's kinda true, but it's no more jarring than opening a program like Lightwave 3D and switching between that and Microsoft Word. The Surface Pro 3 introduces one more extremely cool software function though. If the new stylus has a proper Bluetooth connection to the tablet, you can press the purple button on the end of the pen to launch OneNote, even if the tablet is in sleep mode. In our review unit, this only worked some of the time, but we expect some software updates to come down the line and improve the reliability. Not everything on the Surface Pro 3 is an improvement though. My biggest annoyance is that the capacitive start button is now in the right bezel when the tablet is held in landscape mode. I've accidentally pressed it far too many times when using the stylus on the screen. The other annoyance is that the stylus uses 3 non-rechargeable batteries. I've been using it for a week now and all is well, but I'm sure when those batteries die I will be very annoyed. Using the type cover keyboard on your lap in combination with the kickstand might feel awkward if you're used to a bottom-heavy laptop, but this isn't a laptop. Use the handwriting recognition or touchscreen keyboard instead. There are plenty of other comfortable input methods on this thing. When you're running some CPU-heavy functions or it's updating something in the background, the Surface Pro 3 can get pretty hot on the back. And once or twice we've had some major slowness when resuming from sleep mode. Those few negative issues seem very minor compared to all the other awesomeness in the Surface Pro 3. Our final rating is going to be an 8.8 out of 10. The Surface Pro 3 loses a few points for having batteries in the stylus and an awkward start button in the bezel, but everything else makes the Surface Pro 3 the best tablet PC we've ever used. The large screen and super thin body combined with the most powerful mobile computing hardware around make the new Surface Pro 3 practically irresistible. That's it for now. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up and thanks for watching.